Hello students, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to discuss few objective questions, important topic on the nervous system part 1, right? Multiple choice questions generally which are asked in your previous years, repeated questions of the same. Which of these statements is correct? All arteries carry purified blood. All motor fibers have spinal cord via ventral route. Urine of all vertebrates is similar. The red blood corpuscles of all vertebrates are nucleated. Correct option, all motor fibers leave spinal cord via ventral route. The second cranial nerve of frog is optic, trochlear, auditory, vagus. It is optic. Integrated system in our body are nervous system, endocrine system, nervous and endocrine system, blood vessel. It is nervous and endocrine system. Of the cranial nerves, optic nerve is second, fifth, ninth, seventh. It is second. Nervous innervation of heart is primarily meant for initiation of heartbeat, release of acetylcholine, altering heartbeat, release of adrenaline. It is altering heartbeat. When sympathetic nerve supply to heart is cut off, the heartbeat rate will be increased, decreased, show no change, none. It shows no change, right? Now, when sympathetic nerve supply to heart by vagus nerve is cut off, heart will stop beating, heartbeat rate remains normal, heartbeat rate increases, heartbeat rate decreases. Correct option, heartbeat remains normal. If heart is stimulated through its vagus supply, heartbeat rate will decrease, increase, show no change, none, decrease. How perfusion of heart with acetylcholine affects heartbeat? Increases it, decreases it, has no effect, alternately increase and decrease, decreases it. Stimulation of heart by sympathetic nerve is a result of release of acetylcholine, inhibition of norepinephrine, inhibition of acetylcholine, release of norepinephrine. Correct option C, release of norepinephrine. When an electric shock is given to the leg of a pit frog, it shows reflex response by contraction of leg muscles, blinks its eyes, shows no response, puts out its tongue, shows reflex response by contraction of leg muscles. Chemical transmission of nerve impulse from one neuron to another at a synapse or from a neuron to a muscle is by cholesterol, acetylcholine, cholecystokinin, ATP. It is by acetylcholine. Which one of these processes is found only in animals? Nervous control, hormonal control, respiration, diffusion. It is the nervous control. Which part of mammalian brain controls the voluntary muscular coordination? Cerebrum, corpus callosum, medulla. It is cerebrum. Which one of the following is purely a motor nerve? Olfactory, trigeminal, alveolar, or spinal accessory? It is spinal accessory. Ninth cranial nerve of frog is trigeminal, glossopharyngeal, oculomotor, trochlear. It is glossopharyngeal. In anatomy, frog or rabbit, adequate of sylvius occurs in heart, eyes, brain, ears. It is in the brain. Reflex action in a vertebrate is an essential display induced by a sympathetic nerve, motor nerve, sensory nerve, autonomic response. It is by the motor nerve. The cavity within the spinal cord is neurocele, blastocele, androcele, schizocele. It is the neurocele. Eighth cranial nerve of frog connect the brain to nose, ears, tongue, pharynx. It connects brain to ears. The third ventricle found in the brain of rabbit, heart of rabbit, kidney of frog, it is in the brain of rabbit. Foramen of Monro is between third or fourth ventricle, lateral and third ventricle, rhinocele, diocele, and metacele. It is lateral and third ventricle. The nerve band connecting cerebral hemisphere in rabbit is corpus callosum, albicine, stratum. It is corpus callosum. Reflex actions is controlled by peripheral nervous system, autonomic nervous, central nervous system. It is by the central nervous system. Process of transmission of nerve impulse is chemical, physical, biological, mechanical. It is biological. Part of brain in rabbit, not in frog. Corpus callosum, corpus luteum, corpus stratum, cerebellum. It is corpus callosum. Which cranial nerves carry excitation from ears to CNS, optic, auditory, olfactory, trigeminal. It is auditory. Lateral ventricles are found in heart, thyroid, brain and heart. It is in the brain. Parasympathetic nervous system increases the cavity of gut, iris, urinary bladder, heart, adrenal and sweat glands, heart, lacrimal glands, pancreas, lacrimal glands, sweat glands, erector papilla. It is gut, iris, urinary bladder. Which statement is correct for nerves in the frog? All cranial nerves are sensory, all cranial nerves are mixed, all spinal nerves are motor, all spinal nerves are mixed. Outermost covering of brain is choroid, arachnoid, durameter, all of it is durameter. Cerebral hemispheres are the centers of thinking, willpower, reasoning, it is all of these. If cerebral hemispheres of a frog are removed, its feeding decreases, it dies after some time, it loses body balance, it does not so neither, it dies after some time. A nerve impulse will travel through a nerve fiber only if its membrane suddenly becomes more permeable to ions, chloride, potassium, calcium, sodium, that is to sodium. Demonstration of conditioned reflex was first made by Colvin Frisch, Robert Brown, Pavlov, William Harvey. It is Pavlov. Which of one of these is not a reflex action? Salivation, blinking of eyes to the strong light, flexion due to needle pinch, secretion of sweat, that is the secretion of sweat. Nerve impulse is a process which is biochemically, electrochemical, electrochemical, physical. It is electrochemical. Acetylcholine is responsible for transmission of nerve impulse through cytone, dendrite, axon, synapses, that is the synapses. Afferent nerve fibers conduct impulses from effectors to receptor, receptors to effector, receptors to CNS, CNS to effector, that is from receptors to CNS. Spinal nerves are mixed in nature. Which of these statements is correct? Dorsal root is sensory and ventral root is motor. Dorsal root is motor and ventral root is sensory. Dorsal root is both sensory and motor. Ventral root is both sensory and motor. First option is correct. Dorsal root is sensory and ventral root is motor. Third, sixth, and 11th cranial nerves in mammals are respectively the trigeminal, abducens, vagus, oculomotor, abducens, spinal, accessory, trochlear, facial, spinal, accessory, oculomotor, abducens, hypoglossal. The second option is called oculomotor, abducens, spinal, accessory. Besides several other defects, the parasympathetic nervous system is also concerned with slowing of heartbeat and constriction of pupil, widening of pupils of eyes, release of more sugar from liver, stimulation of sweat gland. First option, slowing of heartbeat and constriction of pupils. Which of these is an example of conditions reflect withdrawal of hand on touching hot plate, sneezing, watering of mouth at the smell of food, yawning? It is yawning. Which nerve transmit impulse towards the central nervous system? Oculomotor nerve, ventral root of spinal nerves, abducens nerves, auditory nerves, that is the auditory nerve. Which one illustrate a reflex are brain, spinal cord, muscle, receptor, spinal cord, muscles, muscle, receptor, brain, muscles, spinal cord, brain. Second option is correct. Receptor, spinal cord and muscles. During conduction of an impulse, electric potential on inside of axial lemma changes from negative to positive and remains positive, positive to negative and again positive, negative to positive and again negative, positive to negative and remain negative. It is the third option, negative to positive and again negative. A trigeminal nerve arises from the brain in the region of cerebellum and divides into palatine, quadra tympani and hyomandibular medulla and divides into palatine, quadra tympani and hyomandibular, cerebellum and divides into ophthalmic, maxillary and mandibular, medulla and divides into ophthalmic, maxillary and mandibular. Fourth option is correct. It is medulla and divides into ophthalmic, maxillary and mandibular. Fourth, fifth and ninth cranial nerves in mammals are respectively pathetic, trigeminal and glossopharyngeal, trigeminal facial and spinal accessory, oculomotor facial and vagal, abducens facial and glossopharyngeal. First option is correct. Pathetic, trigeminal and glossopharyngeal. One common example of simple reflex is tying your shoes laces while talking to another person and not looking at them, watering of mouth at the sight of favorite food, climbing up a stairs in a dark without stumbling, closing of eyelids against and approaching an object, commonly reflects a watering of mouth at the sight of favorite food. The sensory ganglion concerned in spinal reflex are is located in cutaneous sense organs, gray matter of spinal cord, dorsal root of spinal nerves, ventral root of spinal. It is the dorsal root of spinal nerves. Once a synaptic junction between neurons has allowed transmission of a nerve impulse, it is made ready to transmit next impulse by the action of acetylcholine secretin cholecystokinin acetylcholinesterase. It is acetylcholinesterase. White matter of spinal cord is mainly made of nerve fibers without myelin sheath, nerve fibers with myelin sheath, areolar tissue with abundance of white fibers. It is areolar tissue with abundance of white fibers. The point of association between terminal branches of the action of a neuron with dendrites of another neurons are called synapses, neural joints, connectives, commissure. It is the synapses. The second cranial nerve of frog is distributed in eye muscles and retina, lens and retina, iris and eye muscles, retina alone. It is retina alone, which is a mixed nerve, olfactory, auditory, facial, oculomotor. It is facial. Purely sensory cranial nerves in a rabbit are 8, 6, 5, 4. They are the 6. Cerebellum of brain is concerned with the static balance, initiation of muscular contraction, regulation of body posture and equilibrium, coordination of muscular movement. It is coordination of muscular movements. Which nerve originates from medulla? Oculomotor, olfactory, optic, vagus. It is the vagus. Lateral ventricles and diacelobrain are connected by foramen of Monro, aqueduct or Sylvius foramen magnum, occipital foramen. It is foramen of Monro. The main chemicals secreted by sympathetic system to stimulate those visceral organs which prepare the body for an emergency reaction is gonadotropin, oxytocin, acetylcholine, norepinephrine. Which set is a purely motor nerve? Oculomotor, trochlear, abducens, optic, oculomotor, facial, auditory, optic, trigeminal, facial, trigeminal, glossopharyngeal. The first option is called oculomotor, trochlear, and abducens. A ganglion of sensory neuron occurs in dorsal horn of spinal cord, ventral root of spinal cord, dorsal root of spinal nerve, dermis. It is the dorsal root of spinal nerve. Vagus nerve is a mixed sensory motor spinal. It is mixed. A nerve which conveys impulses from a tissue to nerve center is called afferent mixed motor afferent. It is afferent. Synapse is a gap between two adjacent muscle fiber, nerve cell bodies, none of these. It is the nerve cell. Corpus callosum of brain connects cerebral hemisphere, two optic lobes, olfactory lobes, optic cables. It is cerebral hemisphere. Memory weakens if one of the following parts is injured: medulla, cerebellum, hypothalamus. It is cerebrum. Parasympathetic nervous system increases heartbeat, initiates heartbeat, has no effect upon heartbeat, decreases heartbeat. It decreases the heartbeat. Which cranial nerves are purely sensory? First, second, and eighth, first, second, and fourth, first, fifth, and seventh, none of these. First, second, and eighth. In case of spinal nerves, the cell bodies of afferent fibers lie in gray matter, white matter, dorsal root, ventral root. It is in the dorsal root. Normal heartbeat is under the control of vagus nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve, autonomic nerve, none of these. Cranial nerves which supplies region of body other than the head and is longest is auditory, oculomotor, vagus, trochlear. It is the vagus. Tongue is under the control of trigeminal, facial, autonomic system, glossopharyngeal. It is facial. Secretion of parasympathetic nerve endings is noradrenaline, glycine, acetylcholine, hydroxytryptamine. Correct option, acetylcholine. Sensory nerve fibers enter into spinal cord through ventral root, dorsal root, both none. It is the dorsal root. Part of the brain responsible for hearing is cerebellum, medulla, cerebrum, hypothalamus. It is cerebrum. When we are excited, our heartbeat increases because acetylcholine is secreted by vagus nerve, norepinephrine enters heart from the sympathetic nerves. Carbon dioxide level in blood increases, None of these. Correct option, norepinephrine enters heart from sympathetic nerves. Reflex action is comparatively more rapid than normal reactions because the latter have to pass through pituitary cortex all along the spinal cord, cerebral cortex, olfactory lobe. It is the cerebral cortex. Heart is innervated by trigeminals, vagus nerves, glossopharyngeal, facial. It is by the vagus nerve. Acetylcholine is the chemical transmitter across synapse, chemical messenger, anti-stress hormone, none of this. It is the chemical transmitter across the synapse. Most postganglionic sympathetic fiber terminally release acetylcholine, dopamine, norepinephrine, none of it. It is norepinephrine. Acetylcholine is secreted by nerve cells, nephrons, adrenal glands, digestive glands. It is by the nerve cell. Number of spinal nerves in frog is 10 only, 10 pairs, 20 pairs, 12 pairs. It is 10 pairs. Number of cranial nerves in frog is 10, 12, 12 pairs, 10 pairs. Muscular movements in vertebrate are coordinated by thyroid, pituitary, cerebellum. It is by cerebellum. Aqueduct of Sylvius, that is iter, occurs between rhinocele and lateral ventricles, third and fourth ventricles, the two lateral ventricles and third. It is third and fourth ventricles. How many pairs of cranial nerves in mammals are purely sensory? 5, 4, 3, 2. They are the 3. Which one is a function of parasympathetic nervous system in mammals? Acceleration of heartbeat, constriction of pupils, stimulation of sweat glands, contraction of erectile papillae muscles. That is constriction of pupil. Number of spinal nerves in the rabbit is 39 pair, 34, 32, 40, 37. It is 37 pair. Synaptic fatigue is due to exhaustion to neurotransmitter, release of more acetylcholine, release of more adrenaline, that is the release of more acetylcholine. Third ventricle of rabbit's brain is called rhinocele, rhombocele, diocele, it is diocele. Velocity of conduction of nerve impulse in frog is same as that of electricity, 300 meters per second, 30 meters per second. Faster than that, it is 30 meters per second. In frog, both acetylcholine and noradrenaline acts as a neurotransmitters. Noradrenaline is the only neurotransmitter. Acetylcholine is the only neurotransmitter. Neither acetylcholine nor adrenaline acts as a neurotransmitter. Correct option is the first. Both acetylcholine and noradrenaline acts as a neurotransmitter. Fourth ventricle of brain is situated in medulla, olfactory lobes, diencephalon, cerebrum. It is in medulla. Saltatory conduction of nerve impulse occurs in myelinated fibers, both none of the, it is myelinated fiber. If all nerve supply to the heart is cut off, the heart will stop, shrink, beat rhythmically. It is beat rhythmically. Stimulation of sympathetic nervous system causes increased sweat secretion, increased tear secretion, decreased salivary secretion, all of these. And inhibitory neurohumor is dopamine, glycine, acetylcholine, norepinephrine. It is glycine. Nerve fibers of dorsal roots of spinal nerves are motor of afferent, mixed sensory or afferent, none of it. It is sensory or afferent. Vagus nerve is the cranial nerve numbering 10th, 9th, 5th, 7th. It is the 10th. Ivan Pavlov carried out experiments were mainly concerned with origin of life, simple reflexes, conditioned reflexes, cardiac. It is the conditioned reflexes. Central nervous system mostly contains association neurons only, motor and association neurons, motor and sensory neurons, sensory and association. It is motor and association neurons. Two additional cranial nerves present in rabbit, not in frog, are spinal, accessory and hypoglossal, laryngeal and vagus, trigeminal and glossopharyngeal, hypoglossal and laryngeal. It is spinal, accessory and hypoglossal. Nerve fibers in lateral funiculus of spinal cord are sensory only, sensory and motor, motor only, not differentiated. It is motor only. Cytons of both central and autonomic sensory fibers are located in autonomic ganglia, spinal ganglia, ventral part of spinal cord, dorsal part of spinal. It is the dorsal part of spinal cord. Poisons like cyanamide inhibit sodium efflux and potassium influx during cellular transport. This inhibitory effect is reversed when injections of ATP are given. This demonstrates that sodium-potassium exchange pump operates in the cells. Energy of sodium and potassium exchange pump comes from ATP. ATP is the carrier protein in this transport. ATP is hydrolyzed by ATPase to release energy. Second, energy for sodium and potassium exchange pump comes from ATP. Initiation of an impulse in a nerve fiber is caused by the increase in permeability of the covering membrane to sodium ions, potassium ions, calcium ions, water molecule. It is the sodium ions. Nerve impulse is conducted faster in neurons having thick myelin sheet, thin myelin sheet, no myelin sheet, branching axons without neurolemma. It is thick myelin sheet. Which combination is correct in respect of a nerve and its nature? Abducens sensory, vagus motor, spinal accessory motor, none of these. It is spinal accessory. Dorsal root of spinal nerves in frog has the cell bodies of sensory neurons, motor neurons, both sensory and motor neurons. It is the sensory neuron. Reaction of an animal to a stimulus is called taxon. Tropism, response, reflex. It is the response. Sympathetic nerves in mammals arise from thoracolumbar nerves, 3rd, 7th, 9th and 10th cranials, sacral nerves, cervical nerves. Thoracolumbar nerves. If ophthalmic branch of trigeminal nerve is cut, frog will be die, become blind, lose sensitivity of skin of snout, none of becomes blind. Increase in rate of heartbeat, blood glucose level and contraction of urinary bladder are induced by adrenal cortex, thyroid gland, sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system. It is sympathetic nervous system who can be called as father of conditioned reflex, Operin, Calvin, Pavlov, Smith and Neal. It is the Pavlov. In action potential, the outer surface of axonema is positively charged, negatively charged, neutral, none of them. It is negatively charged. Visceral organs in human beings are innervated by sympathetic nerves and are under conscious control. Parasympathetic nerves and are under conscious control. Both sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves and are under conscious control. Both sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves but are not under conscious control. Fourth is the correct. Both sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves but are not under conscious control. Ependymal epithelium is non-ciliated and lines the perivisceral cavity, ciliated and lines the neurocele, non-ciliated and lines the neurocele, ciliated and lines the antrocele. It is ciliated and lines the neurocele. Forebrain of frog is divisible into 3 parts, from behind, in front. These parts are diencephalon, cerebrum, rhinocephalon, cerebrum, diencephalon, rhinocephalon, diencephalon, cerebrum, rhinocephalon, cerebrum, diencephalon. It is diencephalon, cerebrum and rhinocephalon. Which of these is not a median part of the brain cavity of frog? Iter, diocele, optocele, metacele. It is optocele. Which part of the brain of frog is called pallium? Floor of paracele, roof of paracele, roof of rhinocele, roof of metacele. It is roof of paracele. Anterior choroid plexus is located in the brain in roof of diocele, roof of metacele, floor of diocele, roof of epicondyle. It is in the roof of diocele. In neopallium of cerebral cortex is not found in the brain, mammals, birds, reptiles, frogs. Pneumogastric and recurrent laryngeal nerves in the rabbit are the branches of auditory nerve, vagus nerve, trigeminal nerves, glossopharyngeal. It is the vagus nerve. As a spinal nerve emerges out from the neural canal in the front, it travels through gastrin ganglion, jugular ganglion, gland of Swammerdam. None of the, it is the gland of Swammerdam. I hope everything is clear. Any doubt anywhere, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you.